Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be watching this video. Please leave a comment down below where you're watching from. I always like to know where viewers are from. Laptop Hound here with a first of a series for you, the beginner. Are you just getting into out of the park baseball? Do you need a little bit of help, guidance, some suggestions on how you can become a better manager in out of the park baseball? Well, I hope you come to the right place. And this video is the first of the OOTP 25 for Dummies series. Nothing against you, not trying to put you down or anything. It's just a take on the old popular paperback series from, maybe they still make these books. I don't know. I haven't seen many in bookshops, but I know they used to have, OOTP dummies for electricians, OOTP dummies for building your own deck, OOTP dummies for learning how to use YouTube. Maybe I should read that one. Anyway, welcome to the show. I did a series like this for Out of the Park Baseball 23 that seemed to grab some traction. So I'm going to revive it here for Out of the Park Baseball 25. And in this first video, going to teach you a little bit about building a bronze quick roster if you're just starting to play the game. Yes, so many ways to play out of the park baseball. Maybe you've played the base game for many years and are just dipping your toes into the perfect team area. Well, this video is going to help you get started in building a tournament roster. And by the way, there will be a giveaway. Yes, as you may have seen in the thumbnail, I will be doing a giveaway later on in the video where you'll have a choice to win either your very own copy of Out of the Park Baseball 25 or 15 standard packs, which you can use for perfect team. So stay tuned. I will give you the details a little bit later on how you can enter. In the meantime, if this is your first time playing a perfect team for Out of the Park Baseball 25, well, there are a few changes compared to last year. The basic gameplay is kind of the same, but one of the big introductions for this year is something called Combinator cards. Yes, and I can show you an example of it. If you go to the card shop, or actually you go to the Combinator card shop, if you're familiar with Perfect Team, there is this new section, a new type of card called Combinator cards. And just to show you an example, let's take a look at Yogi Berra, one of the great Yankees, known for his quotes, wonderful personality. Well, you'll notice that with the Yogi Berra, there is the base card. This is the usual card that you would get in Out of the Park Baseball. And these are the ratings that you would see for the normal Yogi Berra card. However, with combinators, you have a chance of pulling one of these in the packs that you open. Yes, here you can see the odds of pulling an iron or bronze, 1 in every 400, silver, 1 in every 200, gold, diamond, perfect, 1 in every 100. And if you happen to pull one of these cards, well, you got a little bit of an edge over those users, managers that have the regular version. If you want to boost your Combinator card, you have to feed it other cards that you own. Yeah, you have to sacrifice some of those other cards. And I'll show you an example of that in just a little bit. But this is what you'll get with the Yogi Berra Combinator that you pull out of the pack. You notice that he goes up in his ratings, +2 for all of the ratings that you see there, including his positional ratings on the far right side. And then as you boost him by sacrificing some of your other cards, you'll notice that his ratings continue to increase until you get to that deep blue level where he goes up +12, +11, +14, and he looks much better than he does at that base level rating. So this is new to Perfect Team this year. It does have a little bit of controversy behind it. The community, some people really love using the combinators. Some don't like them so much. Anytime there's change in a game, it's going to take a little bit of time to customize yourself to these major new changes. So if you have a level 5 Combinator of Yogi Berra, it should play a lot better than that regular Yogi Berra. So, how do you boost your Combinator? Well, if you do pull one in pack, I'm going to go to my collection and you'll see that I have 5 Combinators that I have pulled in packs. Let's go to Zach Wheeler. So, Zach Wheeler, here he is. Got him as the base level Combinator as indicated by the red border. If I want to boost him up to the next level, level number 1, I have to sacrifice some of the cards that I own. Now, these are the cards that I own right now on the right-hand side. You'll notice that the relationship to Zach Wheeler determines the point value for each of those cards that you sacrifice. So, for example, Ranger Suarez, the live Ranger Suarez, because he was a teammate with Zach Wheeler for 4 years, he's worth 300 points. Dominic Smith is the same card type. Notice Zach Wheeler is a snapshot, so he gets some points for being a snapshot card. You'll see here it says snapshot. And he also was a teammate of Zach Wheeler for 3 years, so he gets some points there. So you can gain points for your cards that you want to feed to boost up your Zach Wheeler based on being a teammate, being the same card type, being another combinator, or simply playing in the same decade. You'll see here it says same decade as Zach Wheeler. So based on, the similarities between the cards that you own and the combinator you want to boost, you can select those cards if you do want to sacrifice them. And you'll notice that at the bottom, it shows the chance of success of Zach Wheeler going from level 0 to level 1. Now, you can gamble a little bit and say, well, I'm going to just use these 3 cards to try to boost him. And you know what? Let's try one with Kenshin. It's got a 16.32% chance of working. Now, those are pretty low odds. So I'm going to add this Ed Morgan. Now it's at 24%. Let me add the Cabrera. Now it's at 27%. So the more cards that you add, the higher percentage of him actually being boosted to that next level. So let's try it at 27.5%. So you click Attempt Boost. It gives you the warning that this will not be reversed. You will lose forever those 3 cards that you're sacrificing to boost Zach Wheeler. So you don't want to use cards that you're using in your lineup or cards that you can sell in the card shop for perfect points. You only want to use cards you're willing to lose. You're going to lose them either way, whether the boost is successful or not. So let's try it out. Click yes. It goes through the little animation and it says at the bottom, boost failed. So those 3 cards are gone forever. So I'm going to go to the card shop. There's a little pull down menu that says Combinator Points. Allows you to click on the combinator you want to boost, Zach Wheeler, and I can sort them from most to least combinator points. So I'm going to click that. So Andrew McCutcheon worth 2,400, Justin Turner 1,600. But remember, these are perfect or diamond cards. They're going to be very expensive to buy. You kind of want to work your way down until you get to the silver or the bronze or the iron cards that are a little bit cheaper to buy. So Jacob deGrom, pretty expensive. That Jacob deGrom is a well sought after card because it's needed to complete the Pedro Martinez mission. So I don't recommend you burn, don't sacrifice any Jacob deGroms. You can sell them for, 75,000 perfect points. And you can use these combinator cards on your league team. You can use them in your tournament teams. However, in the near future, they are going to add non-combinator tournaments so that you can compete without competing against managers that do have multiple combinator cards. All right, we are back. And don't forget, we are going to have a giveaway a little bit later. You'll have a chance to enter in the YouTube comments down below the video for your chance to win either a version of OOTP 25 for Steam or for your desktop. Maybe you own a copy already. You say, Lap, I'd rather have some packs. Well, we can do that instead. We can award 15 standard packs if you would rather have that as your prize. Okay, new to OOTP 25, you want to get involved in tournaments. You click on the little show tournaments, and you're going to notice there's traditional and perfect drafts. Two types of tournaments you can play. The perfect drafts are pretty straightforward. This is kind of like if you're doing a league fantasy draft where you go through and each team picks a player after player after player, round by round. You get a selection of cards and you pick the cards that you want on your team. You can experiment with that. Maybe we'll do that in a future tutorial, but you don't need to own the cards to do the perfect drafts. They're free to play. You get the selection from the database of cards and you go and you play those tournaments. Each tournament has the mode. It could be best of 5, best of 3, best of 7. It also has the reward, 600 perfect points, or you can win some packs. If you win first place in this tournament, 3 historical packs. And even if you win one round, you're going to win 2 standard packs. So you can go through and decide, well, what do I want to play for? What kind of tournament? What year? This is a 1995 tournament, 1983, or do I want to just play the regular modern day tournament? Again, we can cover that in a future video. If that's something you like to see, please leave a comment and say, Lap, can you do a video on perfect drafts or on the different eras and what we should be looking for? Like I said, there are so many ways to play this game. It's impossible to cover them all in one video. So we're going to only focus on the traditional tournaments today. Traditional tournaments are a form of tournament where you need to own the cards to play in that tournament successfully. And again, there are many different modes. You can see them all here, from a best of 3 to a round robin to a best of 9. Lots of different modes. So you can pick your favorite mode and you can pick your type. Do I want a quick tournament that runs fairly quickly? Do I want to join a tournament that fires off once a day? Do I want to select a weekly, fires off once a week, monthly, or a fixed tournament? I would suggest, as a new player, you join the quick tournaments. They fill up very quickly. You get your reward very quickly if you win, and you don't have to wait day after day after day. You get a lot of experience right off the bat. Well, let's do that. Let's enter a quick tournament. Before you do that, you want to build your roster. How do you do that? Well, you go to Roster Builder on the far right side. And in that roster builder, you're going to create a new roster. Give it a name for whatever tournament. We're going to build a bronze quick tournament. Select your card type, bronze. Leave any on both of those, and then it will give you a choice of which bronze tournaments currently exist. And there's only one, so it's pretty simple. You click on that one, and then you save your roster. Now you're ready to build that roster. You go into the set roster. It's going to open up your roster, which currently right now is going to be blank because you haven't added any cards yet. Now the fun begins. This, again, is a roster that only allows you to use bronze or iron cards, nothing above that. Click on Manage Cards. You want to go into your other pull-down menu. Make sure you hide all your duplicate cards so you don't see the same card over and over. So hide duplicates. And you want to make sure that you're on hide ineligible cards. Otherwise, it's going to show you all the cards that you own. which you can't add to your team because it's a bronze or lower team. So hide ineligible cards. Now it shows you all the cards that you can add to this roster. Remember, we need 26. And I recommend for this specific tournament, if you want to kind of copy my roster, have 11 pitchers and 15 batters. And I'll show you why a little bit later. I like to use non-live cards. If you want to use live cards as well, feel free to do that. But I'm going to use non-live because they generally tend to perform better. In the tournaments that I play, I very rarely will use a live player. The historical cards tend to play better in tournaments. All right, here we go. We're ready to go. Next thing I would recommend is that you start with either your batters or your pitchers. So I'm going to go to position. I go to pitchers. And I'm going to go up here to my view. And I only want to look at certain ratings for my pitchers. So I've got this set up right now to look at home run suppression, control, pitcher BABIP, stuff, and stamina. And you may ask, well, how do you do that? How do you set up your menus? Well, if you go up to your customize, go to pitcher ratings, and here is where you can set to show exactly what you want to look at. So I've got all my pitcher ratings that are important for new people. And in terms of my perfect team, I don't really need to see anything about missions or a card type or the card year or the card team. I don't need to see any of the value in terms of what it's worth selling. Don't need to see any of that. Or deactivate or a quick sell or sell orders. None of that. All I need to see really is maybe the PT status. And I think that's it. Let me just double check. Yeah, that looks it. I probably want to add a button to activate it, to add it to my team. So we're going to do that. That should work like that, I believe. Good. There we go. I can activate it. And I like to sort by highest overall to lowest overall for now. So again, let's go through what each of these ratings mean and what you should be looking for when you build your quick bronze roster. As I mentioned earlier, you want 11 pitchers and 15 batters. You can go with 12 pitchers and 14 batters. Those kind of tend to be the two most popular ways to build your roster, either 11 and 15 or 12 and 14. Remember, when you go and you customize your view, after you've customized it to your liking, you want to make sure you save it. You go to Save View and give it a name, and then just save as global. That way it will be saved to all your perfect team rosters. So now you can just go up and select it from the pull down menu here, Pitcher Tutorial, and it will bring this up. When you're looking for pitchers, especially for these bronze tournaments, you want to look for two categories above and beyond anything else. Your HRA, which I'm going to call home run suppression. It means your ability to prevent home runs. The better this number is, the higher the number is, the less likely this pitcher is to give up home runs. Red coloring is very low. Blue coloring is very high. You want high levels in HRA and in control. Those are the two most important characteristics I look for on my pitching staff, especially for my starters. After that, I like to have PBABIP and then stuff. When you're looking at your ratings, completely ignore this movement category. Movement is a combination of HRA and pitcher BABIP. You'll notice these two are indented. That's because it's a composition that makes up this movement number. But ignore movement. Don't look at movement and go, oh, it's got pretty good movement. I'm going to select this picture. No, you want to dig into the HRA and picture BABIP and focus on the HRA as the higher number. So Paul Splittorff is a really good pitcher to have on your team. The problem is you cannot get him in a pack. He was one of the award cards for the PTCS, which is a monthly tournament held by Out of the Park Baseball. This was one held a couple months ago. So the only way you can get this card is go to Actions and find in Card Shop. And right now, there is no one selling a Paul Splittorff. So you can't add him to your team. I highly recommend that you spend up to 1,000 perfect points on a Paul Splittorff because he is a really good card to have. Right now, you can't add him. However, when you're watching this video, there might be one available. So I like to sort by home run rate. I click on that. And the cool thing about this is you can move these categories all around. Just click on them and move them. So you can sort them any way you want. I'm sorting by home run rate. But I also, like I said, I want really good control. So I go down and go, who's kind of got both? Well, Bob Miller does. Home run suppression, control. He's got good stuff. I'm not as concerned about the pitcher BABIP. I don't want it at 20 or 10, but top two, HRA and control. So Bob Miller, I'm going to add you to my team. Activate. Johnny Schmitz, he's got good home run suppression, decent control, good pitcher BABIP, really weak on stuff though. That's too low for me. But depending on the cards that you own, he's that second tier level kind of pitcher that I would consider. If this stuff was even 10 or 15 higher, I would automatically put him on the team. I'm going to put him on for now. I can always take him off later. Next up, I look at, okay, home run suppression, control, Addison Reed, 108 and 91. Click on him. Oh, yeah, I like this guy. Good, decent. I don't really care about pitcher BABIP right now. So I'm going to add Addison Reed, but you'll notice his stamina is really low. So he's going to be a bullpen guy. Addison Reed goes over to the bullpen. Look for some high home run, high control, Ken Brett. That stuff's a little too low for me, so I'm going to ignore him. I want it to be at least 40 or higher. Almost gets there. Danny Kolb, again, almost gets there. He's got really good characteristics everywhere else. Doesn't quite get there for stuff for me. Who else can I look at? Let's see here. Mike Morgan. Oh, yeah. Over 40. Good everywhere else. He's got stamina of 58, so he could be a starter or a bullpen guy. So I'm going to add Mike Morgan and Steve Trout. Yeah, he looks pretty good too. Yep. Steve Trout, we're going to add you. And you keep going through and you look for 11 or 12 pitchers. And then we're going to go and we're going to add our batters. All right. Notice when I switch over to batters, it still shows my pitcher ratings. I want to see hitter ratings. So I go to batting ratings. And the ones that I want for my batters, if you customize it, you click on batting ratings. You want BABIP, power, I. BABIP, power, I. If you want, you can add speed, not necessarily important. Click OK. And again, I want my PT info. I want it to be deactivate, take off the actions, take off the status, Click OK. There we go. And for my hitters, I like to sort by power and then I. So you might want to move these around until you have power and I beside each other. Those are important for bronze, power and I. You want both of those to be fairly high for most of your hitters. There will be a few exceptions, as we'll show a little bit later. All right, let's add some of our hitters. Well, when we look at power and I, we see a few guys that jump out right away. You know, good power, good I. If I click on the card, power I, next most important is probably BABIP, and then gap power. Ignore contact. This is like the movement area for pitchers. Contact is a combination of BABIP and avoid K. Don't look at that contact number. Instead, look at the BABIP and avoid K. As I mentioned, power and I, most important, as well as defense. You can't ignore defense. For your defense, for outfielders, range is the most important. For center fielders, for right fielders, for left fielders, you want good range. For your right fielders, range and arm is most important. And for your center fielders, you want really high range. And then error and arm are equally as important. But the outfield range for all three, left, right, and center, is the key area you're looking at. If you are sacrificing range, you can sacrifice it on your left fielder a little bit more. So, center fielder, lots of range. Right fielder, you want a really good arm with range. And left fielder is kind of your weakest outfielder. All right. For your infielders, third base, you want range and arm. You want a guy at third base that has a really good arm that can fire it over across the infield. Range and arm for your third baseman. For your shortstops and second baseman, second base, you want range and you want turn double play. And finally, for your shortstop, if I can find one here, you want range as the key, just like your center fielder. Range is the most important. This would be a really good shortstop, Paul DeYoung. He's got 89 range. He doesn't commit many errors. He's got a decent arm at short, and he can turn double plays. So he's pretty much got everything you want in an infielder. But again, you want range as your number one priority. First baseman, you can sacrifice. There's not really a lot of key areas for your first baseman. So first baseman, don't worry too much about their characteristics. Ignore, the little 65 up here. It really doesn't play a big role. You want to look at these four categories for your infielders and outfielders. And finally, for your catchers, most important is your framing. Blocking and arm are key as well. You don't want a catcher that is really poor blocking and arm, but fielding is one you want fairly high. This is always a tough one because do you want a catcher that has really good hitting attributes, or do you want one that's really good defensively? Or one that kind of has a little bit of both? And this Steve Yeager has a little bit of both. So that's going to be your own personal choice. I'll show you what I've decided as we build the roster here. Okay, adding our hitters. Adam Dunn at the top, must have. He's got some of the highest power and I in the game right now for a bronze card. So you're going to use him in the outfield. Next up, Jeff Bagwell. Good power, good eye. However, you'll notice most of the cards that you choose tend to be either better against the lefties or against the righties. And here's an important beginner tip. Use platoons. That means 2 second basemen, 2 first basemen, 2 center fielders. You're not going to be able to do it for every single position, but for many positions, you want a platoon. What that means is you want one of your first basemen strong against the lefties and one strong against the righties. So, for example, I've got Jeff Bagwell, who I've shown is strong against the lefties. So I'm going to choose him. And then I could look at another first baseman like Lou, and look at, he's strong against the righties. So there could be a pretty good platoon situation for your first baseman. You kind of want to go position by position. So if we go to catcher, we see the power and the eye, and look for someone that has good power and good eye. And again, you probably want to put a platoon situation together, someone good against the lefties and the righties. Sometimes you get lucky and you get a catcher that's good against both. Same with all your other positions: second base, third base, shortstop, outfield, center field. So let's go and take a look at the roster I've already put together. All right, we're back for the next segment here. And once you have built your team of 26 players, a very important step that you must do, otherwise your rosters will be messed up on your team. You need to go back to your roster builder, far right side of your screen here, and click Upload to Server. You need to upload that roster to the server for it to take effect when you enter tournaments. It uploads successfully. At a future time, you can always go back to the more actions and change, delete it from the server, all those other kind of things. I'm going to delete that one because we didn't finish it. I'm going to show you the roster that I built for the bronze quick tournament. And you can also build a roster for different cap tournaments. If you like to play tournaments that have more restrictions, that just means that you have to add a combination of more iron cards to your tournaments. We're not going to focus on that one, though. We're going to focus on just a regular bronze tournament. So let's go back to the roster builder. And this is the one that I've already set up and already competing in tournaments with. Remember, this is a non-combinated roster. I don't want to put combinator cards in because most of you that are new players to the game, you won't have combinators. If you want, you can add your combinators, but I want to show you how you can be successful without having those expensive combinator cards on your team, because they are expensive. For example, if we go to the Combinator shop and I want to buy a combinator for my team, at least one of the better combinators, and I sort by sell price, you'll see that, there are some combinators selling for 200,000 perfect points. This one, 1,200,000. There are some expensive combinators. I want to show you how you can be competitive without having to go buy those combinator cards. So here is the team that I am currently running. Right now for my pitching staff, we'll just go to this screen here. Brian Bannister. Brian Bannister, again, has good home run suppression, good control, but he's also, fairly good with his stuff and his pitcher BABIP. He's a little splitty. You see he's strong in some areas against the lefties, other areas against the righties. But for right now, as of this July the 13th, he's one of the better bronze pitchers out there. So I recommend you have him on your roster. You can go to the card shop and you can pick up a Brian Bannister for 172 points. This roster that I've put together, if you went and bought every single card, all 26 of them off the card shop, it's going to run you about 4,000 perfect points. but well worth it. You can make those perfect points back within a week easily. So this is about a 4,000 perfect point team. Next up, Nathan Eovaldi. Home run suppression, control, just like I mentioned earlier. Max Manning, home run suppression, control. Bob Miller, we looked at earlier, great home run suppression, good control. Those again are the shapes, card shapes that you want in your pitcher. Ignore the 65. Don't worry about that. As long as they qualify for this tournament, look for the home run suppression and the control. Got a little bit of a low stuff rating. Like I said, I like mine to be at least 40 or higher. So he just kind of fits in, but I'm not using him as a starter. I'm using him in the bullpen. We talked about Paul Splittorff. I think a must-have card right now. Next up, Steve Trout. Same shape, a little bit lower on stuff, but it's above 40, so I'm okay with him. And we looked at Addison Reed and CJ Wilson as well. So again, when we're looking at our pitchers, notice the ratings at the top here. Every single one of them has a home run suppression over 90, either against the lefties or the righties. There's a couple in the high 80s. I'm okay with that. But there's none in the red. There's none in the low greens. They're all 87 or above. Same with control. All of them have control of at least 78 or higher. Again, you may be looking at the tutorial ratings that we looked at a little bit earlier when we just looked at kind of the basics for the pitchers. I like to add the versus left and versus right. Again, you can do that in the customize section, pitcher ratings, and instead of just putting the main category, you can go versus left and versus right. I'm going to take all those off. We'll just look at the basics, because as a beginner, that's all you need right now is the basics. Home run rate, pitcher BABIP, control, stuff, stamina. Again, home run rate's the most important. Move that over to the left, then control, and then pitcher BABIP and stuff. So there we go. Everyone has a home run rate 92 or higher. Everyone has control 79 or higher. Those are the two most important things. You do want some pitcher BABIP. You want it at least 40 or higher. And same with stuff. You want it at least 40 or higher. That's what you're looking for in your pitchers. Now, when we look at our hitters, remember what I said that you want to look for your batting ratings? You want power, I, and BABIP. You want infield range, and you want outfield range. For your catchers, you want the framing. So that's what I have on this setup right now. Again, you customize, you add your batting ratings, you add your fielding ratings, a little bit of miscellaneous that you might want to add. Your fielding you can put. Don't worry about adding the stats, because when you're building a roster, it doesn't show you any stats because you haven't played any games yet. You're focused on a few of the general categories and then the batting ratings and fielding ratings. So you can pause the video. You can look what I've used to have this kind of setup right now. You can even take off that status. You don't need that when you're building a roster. Should be on one of these here somewhere, PT status. Let's remove that. There we go. That looks much better. All right, hitters. For your catchers, remember what I said, you want to look for platoons. You don't want Joe Mauer hitting against the lefties. He's horrible as a hitter against the lefties. Really good against the righties. So you need someone that you can platoon with him that will be in your lineup against the left-handed pitchers. and I've chosen Bill Raridan. Look at that. A good complementary piece to Joe Mauer. Good against the lefties, not as good against the righties. He won't hurt you if you use him against the righties, but you're going to use him for his strength, which is the lefties. And look at, he's got strong framing, blocking, and arm, a great card to have in bronze with Joe Mauer. So you match them up. You've got Joe Mauer here against the right-handed pitchers. You've got Bill Raridan against the left-handed pitchers. At first base, I've decided to go with Jeff Bagwell, who we looked at earlier. He is going to go into the lineup against the left-handed pitchers. And I've chosen Wally Joyner to go in against the right-handed pitchers. Lots of blue there. Now, I did say power and eye are the most important. However, there are some exceptions, and Wally Joyner is one of them because he has such strong BABIP and avoid K with gap power. It kind of makes up for his lack of home run power. Second base, or in the infield, we'll just go through the infielders. I've got Connie Day. Here's another exception. He's so strong in these other categories. I'm going to ignore the power and eye. And your infield, you want good defense. And you see Connie Day, he can catch first base, second base, third base, shortstop. He's a strong infielder with a strong BABIP bat. Must have. And again, you can pick him up on the card shop for 254 points or lower. Get yourself a Connie Day. Also, Buddy Bell. I like him at third base. He can only play third base. He's got a decent arm, but he's got a really decent bat as well. I can use him against the lefties or righties because he's fairly equal on both sides of the plate. And at shortstop, there's a couple shortstops I like. Paul DeYoung, strong defense, decent bat. And I do like this Starlin Castro. Again, especially against the lefties. Good infield range. You want a strong defensive shortstop. If you can get any bat out of your shortstop, even better. And he provides some hitting ability. In the outfield, I've got Elmer Smith, power eye, gap power. I got Vince DiMaggio, better against the lefties. Great outfield range. You want that in your center fielder. And I've got the Adam Dunn card we looked at. And another must-have, plays really well in bronze, Andrew Jones. Power, eye, defense, 103 range. If you use him in right field, he also has 116 arm. Perfect for a right fielder. Now, if I was giving you a quiz, I would say, well, what side, where are you going to use Andrew Jones? And you should say lap. He would be in my lineup, either left, center, or right field, probably center or right field, because you want to put your weaker outfielders in left. He's not weak. He's really strong. And I'm going to use him against the left-handed pitchers because that's where he's strongest. So I go to my lineup, and you see Andrew Jones against the left-handed pitchers. Center field. His platoon partner against the lefties, who he's stronger against. Good defense, Vince DiMaggio. So this is a tournament where you do get a DH. And so for my DH platoon, you'll notice I got Lou against the righties, and I've got Gary against the lefties. Pretty easy by looking at their profile. Here's Lou, better against the righties. Gary, look at this against the lefties. Not a great defender, though. So he makes an ideal DH because he's going to hurt me. If I put him into right field, even at first base, he's going to make some errors. I don't want that. So he's going to be my DH. And for Lou, I could play him at first base. But again, I showed you my two first basemen, Jeff Bagwell, much better at first, and Wally Joyner, much better at first. I don't want to waste these guys at DH if they've got a good glove. So my worst glove of those three players is Lou. So he gets to play DH in a platoon situation with Gary Sheffield. So you'll see my platoons here at catcher, Mauer and Raritan. At first base, I've got Bagwell and Joyner. Second base, I have Connie Day, both sides of the plate, because look, he's strong at both sides of the plate. So he's my second baseman, both sides. Third baseman, I've got that platoon, Buddy Bell. I've got against the lefties, a little bit more power and eye against the lefties. And against the righties, I've got Larry Gardner. Look at that. Really strong against the righties. At shortstop, against the lefties, I've got Castro. Again, better BABIP guy against the lefties. And against the righties, I've got Paul DeYoung. I want to take advantage of that defense. In left field, where you can kind of put your weakest outfielders, I've got Elmer Smith. Look at that. Remember I showed you those other outfielders? This is my weakest outfielder, but I want him in for this bat against the lefties and righties. He's strong. So I've got Elmer Smith, left field, Elmer Smith, left field. Center field, I showed you already, Vince DiMaggio on one side against the lefties and against the righties, sorry, and against the lefties, it was Andrew Jones. And finally, in right field, we've got against the lefties, Adam Dunn, strong arm, good power, good eye. And I've also got Adam Dunn against the righties. You want him on both sides of the plate. So there you go. That is what you can build for about 4,000 perfect points. You can get this identical roster. You can put them in the batting order wherever you like. I like to have my high BABIP and speed guys towards the top. And then maybe from number 3 to number 6, I like to have my power eye guys. And then my defensive guys that have the weaker bats, I like to have them in roles number 7 to 9. Just like real baseball, kind of how they would have their batting lineup. Well, that should get you a good start. There's also the strategy tab at the top, and strategy, I'm not going to go over in this tutorial. We can cover it in a future tutorial if you like. If you want me to cover strategy, I'm more than willing to do that. You can see it on screen, so you can kind of copy it for now if you want. Even if you don't know what all these ratings do here, all these sliders that you can move back and forth, play around with them, but this is kind of what I use for this tournament. And I can discuss that in a future video if that's something that you would like. Remember, once you finish putting your roster together, if you make any changes, you need to go back to your roster builder and you need to update it. Update server version. That way, all the changes will be saved. It will gray itself out. I kind of opened 2 up there because I'm going to resave both of them. And now you're ready to play. Go to traditional tournaments, select bronze. You want to enter the bronze D double elimination at the very top, 16 teams. Click sign up. And now you've got to put your roster in. Really easy to do. Click on this little pull down menu under roster and select the one you created. In this case, it's my bronze double elimination. I click that. My roster is now there. I'm good to go. That's all you have to do. You can enter 2 tournaments at any one time with this roster. You'll notice I just entered 1 and I have 1 already in progress. You can see all the tournaments you're in from your main page, whether they're drafts, whether they're traditional tournaments. let's go and take a look at one I'm already in, and I can kind of show you how this roster is currently performing. And with that team I just showed you, we are in the finals, and we won the first game of the finals. The winner of the tournament will get 3 standard packs. That means you will win 3 of these packs right here. And the second place finisher will get 1 standard pack. The beautiful thing is, once you've created your roster, it's there for good. You just keep entering tournaments like I showed you. Enter, enter, enter. Anytime you are knocked out of a tournament, you can enter another one. You don't have to wait until the tournament's over. You just have to wait until you're eliminated, hopefully at the end. So this team right here, the lap D block tutorial team that I'm using, we won our first game. We can go and take a look at the scores. Round 1, we won 7-6. Round 2, we won 5-3. In the quarterfinals, we won 4-1. In the semifinals, we won 7-3. And because this is a double elimination, what that means is when you enter the tournament, all 16 teams are placed on the left side of the screen in the bracket. If you win your first game, you go to round 2. If you lose your first game, you go over to the right-hand bracket. And as long as you keep winning in the right-hand bracket, you can make your way to the finals. So I did not lose any games. I won, so I keep advancing on the left side. I won, I make it to the finals. Road Soda starts off on the left-hand side. They lost their first game to the Warriors, so they go over here, and they keep playing until they lose a second game. Well, they won, and then they won, and they won again, and they kept on winning. So they made it to the finals after losing their very first game, which is really tough to do. You have to go on a win streak. What did they win? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row. Now I'm playing them in the final. So in the final, lap tutorial team is 5-0. We came in from the A side. Always one of the teams will come from the A side to the final. And Road Soda lost their first game, made it to the final, and the final is best of 3. So your record kind of resets. So Road Soda is allowed to lose another game once they made it to the final. And game number 2 has just come in, and as you can see from the box score, the tutorial team that I built on the video here lost by giving up 2 runs in the 9th inning to my competitor, and then they scored the winning run in the 10th. So we were 1 inning away from going undefeated in this tournament. So that's our first loss. So now both teams are tied at 1 game apiece, and whoever wins that next game that comes in about 8 minutes time is going to win the 3 packs. But at the very least, this team will get at least 1 pack. And again, in these tournaments, that's what you do. You just keep going and try to get pack by pack by pack. And again, just to show you my lineup, exactly what I showed you earlier with Bannister, Wilson, Splittorff, and all those other pitchers, 11 pitchers that I'm using. And for my hitters, there's the exact same lineup I showed you earlier. And we can kind of take a look at their batting ratings with the stats. So I like to have kind of, once I'm in a tournament, have kind of a setup where I've got all my ratings, and then over on the right-hand side, show a little bit of the important stats as well. So we'll see in terms of WOBA, we've got Larry Gardner having a great tournament. Buddy Bell having a great tournament. Andrew Jones, a great tournament. Paul DeYoung. And again, when you set up these platoons where the cards or the players are facing off against a pitcher that they have more success against, you're going to see that reflected a lot of times in the rating. In terms of the zone rating, again, most of the players, their defense is holding up. Larry Gardner, again, I'm kind of using more for the bat, so I'm sacrificing a little bit of the defense, not a ton of blue there for the bat. And your third baseman is always the toughest choice. Some managers like Brooks Robinson type, where he's much stronger with the glove, and others will go with more of a Mike Schmidt type, which is much stronger with the bat. You don't want to sacrifice one or the other too much, but often you have to make a choice. Do I want the better hitter or do I want the better fielder? And in this case, I've gone with the better hitter. Other than that, though, the defense has been pretty strong. And in terms of the WAR, it's a short tournament, so you're not going to get extremely high WAR ratings. But no one is really hurting me in terms of WAR. Negative 0.2 is really, really nothing. And again, you'll see that there are a lot of common names. I showed you my roster. It's no secret that these are good players. So other teams will have a lot of those players too. The Rattlers. There's the Miller. There's the Splittorf. There's the Trout, the Wilson. So again, a lot of common players. The Mashers. A lot of the same players, but you'll notice they have a lot of the combinators. Anytime you see a little star beside that player, it means they've got the combinator version. And in this case, it's the level 5 combinator version, which generally gives those players an edge. But as you can see, the two teams in the final, my team, no combinators, no stars by the player name. And the team I'm playing, Road Soda, has no combinators. So you can still make a final without any combinator cards. Again, they will give you an edge. There are a lot of teams that run combinators, but there are a lot of teams that don't and can be quite successful. Here's another team with a lot of combinators on them, but they're not in the final this time. Another team, a lot of combinator cards, not in the final. All right. So as we wait for this last sim to come in before we end the episode, let's do our giveaway. I mentioned that we will have a giveaway. Now is the opportunity for you to win either a copy of OOTP 25 or 15 standard packs that will be sent to your Perfect Team account. In order to win the packs, though, you have to have a Perfect Team account. So which means you own the game and you're currently actively playing the game. I'm going to give you the skill testing question. You'll put your answer in the YouTube comments underneath the video here. And we're going to give you a simple question. But listen very carefully to the laptop hound question. I want you to put 3 things into your comment. Put your Perfect Team username, which you can find by just looking at your manager. Mine is History Buff. Secondly, I want you to put which of the prizes you would like. The 15 packs or a copy of the game. And the third thing that you have to put is one of the players from my hitting roster and their defensive rating. So your comment should look like this. Manager, Bob Smith. Prize, copy of the game. Vince DiMaggio, 103. And you don't have to use Vince DiMaggio. Any of these players here and their defensive rating, along with your Perfect Team username and which of the prizes you would like to win. The deadline for this contest will be on Friday, July the 19th at noon Eastern Standard Time. If you want a chance to win, you have to enter those three things into the comments by July the 19th, noon Eastern Standard Time. After that point, I will put all the contestants on a wheel and I will randomly spin that to find out who our winner is. There'll be one winner, one giveaway for this video, but stay tuned for future videos to win future contests. All right, we are waiting for this last sim to come in. We'll find out whether we win 3 packs or 1 pack with this bronze roster team that we built online here. The sim is about to come in. If you found this video, please leave a like, comment, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do, because there will be more videos to come along the way as well. I do stream live OOTP 25. I'm an OOTP 25 affiliate as well as a Twitch partner, and I stream 3 times a week on Twitch. You can catch me there. Go to twitch.tv/laptophound and you can catch me live. And remember, if you watch me live, you'll get a free standard pack for every 15 minutes that you watch. One of the perks of watching live streamers on Twitch. That is going to be it. Thank you again for watching. Let's go check out how we did in game number 3 to end the video. And we finished by losing our last 2 games. And that's going to happen. We were on a roll. However, Road Soda beat us in extra innings in the first game. And then in this second game, they won 4-2. That's how the game works. You win some, you lose some. So congratulations to Road Soda. But we are walking away with 1 standard pack. We were the second best team out of 16. And the good news is I can go to my tournaments, go to bronze, and enter the next one. Don't forget, when you enter, click on that little roster pull-down menu and make sure you bring in your bronze roster. Thanks once again. Enjoy your day, your weekend, and hope to catch you in the next video. Don't forget, enter the contest. Friday, July 19th, noon is the deadline to enter. Laptop Pound signing off. We're here for a good time, not a long time. So have a good time. The sun can't shine every day.
As a share of tears, every now and then it's gotta rain. We're here for a good time, not a long time. So have a good time. The sun can't shine every day. We're here for a good time, not a long time. So have a good time.
And if you want to see more tutorial videos, check out this playlist that you see on the screen now. We'll see you next episode.